excited. Jillian, you're already here. Okay, perfect. So can you hear me? Because I tried to do this last night, and when I listened to the recording, I couldn't hear me. Can you hear me? I could hear my little kiddo downstairs. That kind of scared me a little bit. Should I put on maybe some pretty music or something like that? We actually, let's test that. That's what this is all about. So I wanna see what that ends up sounding like when I decide I want to do some music in the background. Thank you. Yes, perfect. This is, so just so you know, when I have recorded with my camera, that's the one that overheats sometimes, but when I record with this on Facebook, it's the one that makes me sometimes look all like pixelated and like I'm like unplugging from the matrix, but in a rainbow. So yeah, so in any case, that's part of why we're experimenting. We're seeing if maybe I get a little bit better connection on YouTube and don't fractalize out. And 1 second, let's pick some PD music. Ooh, you know what I want to listen to? I'm gonna listen to that, if we can find that song that was played on the Soul Family channel the other day. It was really cool. Oh, sweet. Oh, and I'm seeing the shadow going by because I have my window open, so I'm gonna open that, but I'm gonna try to find that song at the same time that someone posted yesterday. 1 second. That way we don't constantly have a shadow going through the background. Okay. I hope I can find that song. It was like really tribal and beautiful. You know, I'm not going to take the time to do that, but that song was really awesome anyway. And I'm actually, oh, look, it's 11:14 right now. That's awesome. 1114. Reiki healing music. Look at that one.
There's one simple kissing technique any woman can use to make a man beg to be her boyfriend.
That's hilarious. That's a funny commercial to have come on right now. And don't worry, we'll talk here just in a second, but I do just want to kind of test out different things. So how is that? Can you hear it? I know, I'm so excited that it was 11:14 right then. You can? Is it too loud if I put it right there? Like, can you still hear what I'm saying if I wanted to talk to you? Right there? That's good? Sweet. Okay, so this is obviously a little bit of an experiment, but I'm happy to oh, by the way, I'm really excited to be chit-chatting with you, and I can read it much better too, so I'm going to be able to follow along with this a lot better than when I'm trying to do it with my cell phone, so that's good. This is a really old laptop, so I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but sweet. I'm really excited. So I guess we can just kick off by talking, and then I'll kind of reintroduce myself if anybody else decides they want to kick on, and if they don't, then it's just me and you today. So where should we start? Or do you want to start by talking? I don't know. Tell me about you. Tell me about your kids. How many kids do you have, Jillian? And thank you. This is my. I keep my bedroom like this because I just need to unwind somewhere. Sometimes. Is it gonna scroll down? Why won't it? That's weird. It won't let you type. That's weird. How do I change that? You're now a moderator for my channel. I don't know whether or not we'll end up keeping it that way if you want to be one. But now you can talk to me as much as you want. And I don't know why it's on a setup like that. How do I make it so that that's not an issue for people? I don't want people to be told that they can't talk as much as they want. That's one of the things that we'll have to work out. I don't think that that's gonna hopefully be necessary, but we'll see. Yes, we'll figure that part out. But noted, that's one of the things that we have to figure out later is how to get that fixed so that nobody ends up getting kicked off. But I think you should be able to talk now as much as you want. So now talk to me a little bit about, I don't know, what do you want to hear? That's perfect. I'm gonna have some of my big mug of coffee. I saw someone posted a comment yesterday on the Soul Family page about worrying about drinking coffee, and my thought was I would be in big trouble because I really do drink a lot of coffee. I enjoy it very much. Oh, Camille, hi. So I'm really hoping that it's not going to make it so that you can't leave. I may have to make you a moderator for a minute on here to be able to speak freely, because otherwise it may tell you that you're not allowed to talk as much. So for today, I don't know. We'll see. Good morning. So, Jillian, I'm probably going to talk to you about a Sri Yantra more in a personal conversation for right now. But I will talk about self-love because I think that that's a little bit more all-inclusive for right now. And then we'll get into, it's not too esoteric. It's fantastic. It's like perfect. But I would love to talk to you about that one-on-one. And I'll definitely talk about that much more in videos down the road, but just not necessarily this one right this second. It sounds like self-love is going to be a little bit better approach. So, Jillian, you know how we were kind of talking about possibly me telling you a little bit about my journey? I think that that's a really good way to start talking about implementing self-love, because I really only, people understand best by hearing stories. Thank you. There's let me see. I want to make sure that Camille is able to also speak freely. But so Camille, I've just added you as a moderator so that you can talk as much as you want, because I don't know what's wrong with why it won't let people talk freely. So people understand best when they hear stories. The subconscious mind processes things best in stories. So either parables or hearing from other people's life experiences. So I'm going to share a little bit about my life experience, because I think that a lot of us that are vibrating towards each other right now resonate with each other's stories. And yeah, no problem, Camille. And I think that telling you how I implemented it in my life might help you. So I don't know, Jillian, are you or Camille, are you guys like in a hurry? Is this something that you guys want me to try to keep this super quick, or are we just freely speaking for a little while? Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to talk openly for a while because I don't even know if I'm ever going to post this video. This was all just really practice anyway. So, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Camille. I appreciate you guys. So, you know, I was like I think a lot of people that vibrate on our frequency, I felt very isolated. I think I chose a path where I was going to really, really, really have to attune in this life. And so I chose a path of being born into a really patriarchal religion. And as someone that was really kind of inspired as a female, that was hard for me. That was really concerning for me. And I actually, I what were really inspired thoughts were regarded as really kind of almost frightening to the world around me. And I live in a very patriarchal place. I don't know how much you guys know about Salt Lake City, Utah, but it's kind of both the I hate to say anything that sounds like judgy or anything, but both the state and the religion are really closely related here. And so I felt obviously kind of a lot of shame about the inspiration that I would feel. And in fact, I felt really convinced that it must come from the other side, that I must have, like, you know, that Satan or something must have a personal plan for me or something like that. You know, I didn't feel like I was supposed to receive that kind of inspiration. And so it must not come from the right place. And so that was really hard for me to that was really hard for me to process. And so I definitely struggled really with deep depression from a very, very young age. As a matter of fact, in the religion that I was raised in, being baptized into the religion is something that you do at 8 years old. And shortly after that experience was the first time I tried committing suicide, because I was just sure I was going to hell. So I was only 8 years old, and that's not, you know, normal. It's not a, yeah, yes, I was raised that way, we'll say. Yes. And so we'll just say that the dark, deep depression was really not far from my mind most of my life. And as good as I was at pretending to just be the perfect everything, I just tried so hard to be perfect all the time. But I really, you know, I would sneak and find any book I could find on mythology, on religion, on philosophy, on psychology, and I'd sneak it into my bedroom and I'd read it in my closet, because I just couldn't help but kind of scratch that itch. And that was really hard, because that also kind of made me feel like I might be going to hell. So I was really struggling with that. It was something that I had like a real big internal struggle with. Oh, thanks, Jillian. You're so sweet. Yeah, I go back and hug little Anna often. I've actually written something about when I first went back to heal her, and that was a really important time for me. And actually, at the time, my name was Whitney. It was a beautiful name. Thanks, Mom and Dad. But that was adopting it and stepping into a different name. When that happened for me, that was a really big part of my transmutation process, we'll say. Anyway, so yes, I struggled with deep. Yes, I'm sure you can relate, definitely. I struggled with deep, dark depression. I definitely understand what it's like to just love the shit out of everybody around me so much, and feel like they deserve all of the light and the love in the whole wide world, and just not see in any way, shape, or form how any of that is deserving of my own self. You know, and you know, I was always a person that was wanting to serve others, and actually literally was serving others, volunteering and doing things like that. But I really couldn't seem to bring that into a place of I don't know. I think, like I said, I think a lot of people that are that vibrate towards each other at this time have kind of a similar feeling of isolation in whatever way. It might look a little different for every single one of us. Yeah, it looks a little different for every single one of us, but we sense a similar vibration, and that's how frequency works. This is a frequency based universe. We share frequencies with each other, which is how we empathize with one another, and we can get a lot more into that esoteric knowledge as these Facebook lives start to kick off more and stuff like that. But yes, yeah, blind faith. I was never very good at blind faith. I tried. I tried so hard. Oh my gosh. In any case, I'm trying to read them while I actually go along with with I'm learning how to do both at the same time. Yes. So in any case, my grandfather was very, very close to me. He was always kind of my number one fan. I was he was really proud of me, even though we didn't always see the world the same way. It was kind of hard for him to understand the way that I processed things. But at the same time, he just always made me feel like that made me amazing, not bad or anything. So he was like kind of the one person I always felt like I could really share that side of myself with. And when I started to really develop my energetic healing skills, which was around the age of 19 years old, that was a point in time in my life where I think I'd stepped out of my home, my household a little over a year earlier. I had kind of gone through the struggle of at least openly questioning the church with my family, and it wasn't I certainly wasn't telling them the level of the things that were going on in my mind, but I was certainly being more open about the fact that aspect was not my truth, even if I wasn't able to open up about a lot of the deeper things that were going on within my mind. But I was working on my energy healing skills and coming into memory of some of those, we'll see. And that was something that I shared a lot with my grandfather. He struggled. He had cancer a couple different times, actually, and the last one got him. That was a really horrible, super horrible time for me. And that kick-started for me what was a really downward spiral, we'll say. I kind of felt like I'd lost the one person I really truly felt like unconditional love with. And for me, that kicked off pretty heavy drinking. I'd already been working at bars for a while. I just didn't really drink all that much. Sometimes more than others, but I did definitely kick it off at that point a lot more. And that was, I think that, again, like a lot of really truly empathetic people, as they grow up, a lot of them, it's getting dark. A lot of them tend to find coping mechanisms of some sort that they use in excess, whatever those may be. Those aren't always drugs. Those aren't always alcohol. Those aren't always even something that you could put in someone's hands. Sometimes people get addicted to working out. Sometimes people get addicted to whatever their organization or religion is, and there's a million things that you can use as a coping mechanism to not have to think about. You just become a workaholic, But for me, alcohol was a really negative impact in my life because I had already struggled with severe depression. Not only shut me down to so much of one of the gifts that I had been opening up to, experiences that were pretty traumatic. I found myself in a series of abusive relationships, and some were not that bad, and some were pretty darn bad. And after a particularly bad one, I just kind of gave up drinking entirely and doing anything, smoking cigarettes, gave up everything. And shortly after, I met a suave guy that said all the right things and swept me off my feet, seemed like the dream guy. And the one thing that he was a dream guy about is he gave me my child. We'll not go into the details of all of the other ways that he was not my dream guy. But I got Lucas out of the equation, and he is my dream guy. I have another dream guy now too. I'm married, but my son is my other dream guy. And Lucas, I was lucky because obviously I had quit drinking at the time I got pregnant, so that was like ridiculously lucky actually, because as I told you, I had gotten to a point where I was really not very good for a while. So I considered myself real blessed about that. But and the interesting thing is I still worked at a bar. I had gotten really kind of obsessed about going within again, so that was really good timing, I suppose. And then I went to when Lucas was born, I left my marriage that I was in at the time, which was a really good decision. I recognized shortly after Luke was born that he was the reason I needed to do that. Yes, Lucas. You know what? Let me tell you a quick story about that name. Well, since we're just having conversation anyway. So, he had a different name the whole time that I was pregnant, and I was really set on that name, and it was the name that he had when I was at my baby showers and everything. And as soon as they put him in my arms, I just had this clairvoyant moment, and it was one of my first ever clairvoyant moments where he told me his name was Lucas. So for me, that kind of like mind boggled me a little bit. I hadn't had a clairvoyance is more something that I experience. But clairaudio, I that's not really my thing. And so for me, that was a really profound experience. He told me his name, and at the time, I didn't even know that it meant the bringer of the light. Which for me, that's exactly what he was. I realized when Lucas was born that I was sorry, excuse my French, effing awesome. I built a human with my body, and that was so freaking cool. I was really proud of myself. It was like literally actually the first time in my life I remember feeling just totally proud of myself. So proud of myself when that happened. Anyway, so I left a bad marriage, and no harm, no foul or anything. I don't want to say anything bad about him or anything, but it was not a good marriage. And in any case, Lucas and I, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Yes, I can see how your oldest daughter is everything to you. So anyway, or who shifted everything in you. Oh, I love that. That's what I meant. In any case, so when Lucas was 4 months old, I left that marriage, and I was a single mom for a long time. I had a couple relationships, and I had one relationship, and that was actually a really nice guy, but a sign that I was probably moving in the right direction in the self-love department. But I also, we weren't that well suited for each other overall. And a while after I'd quit nursing and everything, I think I lost a lot of that oxytocin that I was getting. I lost a lot of, I kind of fell back into some dense vibrations, and I did start drinking again after I quit nursing. I nursed for about 1.5 years, but after that I fell back into definitely a denser vibration and started drinking again, and it was at that point, I think I was doing the super mom act and really juggling it as much as I could, but I was also feeling worse and worse about myself all the time because I wasn't feeling worthy of him. So, that was a little bit of a double-edged sword. And ultimately, at one point, my depression got to the point where I just realized that I was going to end up leaving him without Mom if I didn't do something pretty drastic. So I checked myself into the hospital, and I told them that I was going to you, Jillian, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm really proud of you for your self-reflection right now. That's really amazing, actually. Yeah, sometimes it just has to happen, but I follow what your heart says, because your head can really easily talk you out of a decision of this gravity. Yeah. Oh, that's Camille that was saying that I'm standing on the edge of a cliff in my marriage. Yes, Camille, that is, follow your heart in this situation. It's imperative, because your head can really easily talk you out of what you need to do. So proud of you for the self-reflection, and I'm going to be including you in my prayers tonight. We'll send you lots. Hi, I love you too, little lioness. Jillian, I'm gonna do you guys want me to pick up where I left off? Yes, I will. I promise you I will. I always keep my word when I tell people I'm sending them. I don't just say it. It's not just a thing I say. I literally take the time to actually do that. So yes, I sure will. Oh, you guys. Yay, I love that. This is how you support each other. I'm so excited. Hi, Lynette. I'm very, very, very excited that you're here. Do you want me to pick up where I left off, or should we take this in a different direction now? I don't really. It's up to you guys. As I try to pop my back. Okay. So I'll just keep going. So in any case, when I checked myself into the hospital, that was a really profound moment for me, because I desperately wanted to die. It wasn't just like I was a little bit afraid that I was gonna kill myself. It was like it was taking everything that I had, every single fiber of my being, not to do it. I desperately wanted to go, and I had all of the thoughts that were convincing me it was the right decision, and that even Lucas would be better off without me, that everybody would be better off without me when all was said and done. So it was a horrible time with no self-love. And it was visceral pain. I mean, I know that at the time that I checked myself into the hospital, my body, every inch of my body hurt. And I was feeling not only my pain, I was feeling the pain of every suicidal person anywhere within probably miles. I was tuning into the pain of so many people, and I didn't recognize that that's how it worked, or that was what I was feeling. And while I was there, I feel like I almost did die. I know Aluna sometimes talks about walk-ins. I don't necessarily think I had a walk-in, but I do think that I think I had a choice while I was there, and my choice was ultimately, when I look back at that time period, the veil was very, very thin at that time for me, and the things that I was saying at that time were even hard for me to make sense of sometimes. But in hindsight, ultimately, what I was saying was that there was going to be an awakening within the human family, and that if there was any reason, I literally said this to doctors, that if there was any reason that I was to be on planet Earth, it was to help people learn how to love themselves. Because it's hard. I was was always really good at doing it for other people. But I was terrible at doing it for myself. And so I determined that I was going to figure out how to love myself, and then I was going to teach other people how to do the same. So that has been my mission ever since then, has been first not just to love others, because I was super good at that. I already had esoteric wisdom. I was already doing energy work on people for years and years. Most of them didn't even know it. I wasn't ever charging anybody. I was just doing it. But I became really determined to learn to love myself. Yeah, and actually, yes, as feminine beings, it is really extra challenging too. But while I was there, I knew that I could not leave the hospital wanting to live. That was very unrealistic for me at that time. But I knew that I could leave wanting to want to live. So I changed my neuro pathway a little to the left. And I said, okay, I know that I can't, no matter how much I want to just will myself into wanting that and tell myself I want it and put myself in that place esoterically. I knew that. I knew myself well enough to know that I couldn't leave the hospital wanting desperately to live, but I knew that I could leave wanting to live, wanting to want to live, excuse me. And I also knew that I could want to help others want to live, and I knew that I couldn't really do that effectively if I didn't figure out how to myself. So I had to start really working on it, and at the time I was more broke. Well, I was gonna say more broke than I've ever been, but I'm pretty much the same right now. But I didn't have money, and I didn't have financial ability to go out and spend a bunch to do that. So I had to figure out ways within what I had available to me to learn to love myself. And so I hit the ground running, literally. I mean, I've always loved nature, but I got really, really good and conscious about how I was spending my time in nature. And we can spend a lot of time talking about some of the things that I do that just make a dramatic difference in the level of light within our bodies, just by being in nature, and it costs $0. We can talk about some of the things that I do that, as far as just like the way that I eat, the way that I handle my food and my water, the way that I just deal with my day-to-day life so that I can add light, because some of the changes that I've made in my life that have made the most monumentally impactful difference have cost $0. And really, like, I've had some teachers I've spent quite a bit of money on before, but I've also, some of my best teachers died long before I was born in this incarnation. So, I just want to say that there are ways to learn to love yourself really, 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 really deeply. I remember the moment when I first realized that Lucas was no longer the reason I was trying to keep living, that I was. And that, of course, was like a huge, huge, huge moment for me. It was a huge moment for him too, even if he didn't know it, even if he didn't recognize etherically what was happening, that his mom was evolving into a place of self-love for the first time in 30 years. At the time I was 30 years old. So yeah, that's my story. I want to hear more about you guys now. Well, I guess I didn't tell you guys how I kicked off the mission, but ultimately I've been doing it my whole life. I just happened to kick it off a couple months ago. The Anaya Facebook page that you guys would know me through. I started that in December of last year. That was when I just had really kind of started to embrace the divine inspiration that had been given to me, and it still took me a few months to gather up to gather up the courage to kick things off. But luckily, right about the time that I did, I found Aluna, and I've had so many channels that I've listened to before. I just want you guys to know this about her. I've listened to very many channels, and I'm gonna talk more about channeling later this week. But I've listened to many channels, and many that have really, really impressed me. She's the first one who ever just like sings to my soul. So I want you guys to realize what an incredible gift it is to have her. Oh my gosh, little lioness, I'm realizing I need to turn you into a moderator, because for some reason it's not letting us just talk openly. So anyone that talks more than a little bit suddenly becomes unable to. So if it was telling you you couldn't talk anymore, I'm sorry. I've just made you a moderator for this, and I'll figure out how to fix that at another time. So, are you serious, Jillian? No way! You're so lucky. What a lucky way to. She is the real deal. Yes, she really, really, really is. Like I said, I mean, I've listened. As a matter of fact, what I would consider basically like the closest thing to my Bible. I mean, I study the Bible, I study all ancient scripture, and I love it. But as far as like something that's a little bit more recent that just is mind blowing to me, it's called the Law of One, and it's channeled. I believe it's channeled in the early '80s. It might have been in the early '70s, and that is a 5-book series that's magnificent, and that's all channeled. I mean, I love channeled information. Aluna's the first one I've ever found that just, yeah, she's amazing. Yeah, she resonates very heavily with me, and she validates a lot of things for me. She also helps me put together puzzle pieces. I've been trying to put together things that are from all around the world for a long time, and it's like she has this incredible ability of sewing things together. So she's really magnificent in that way. It just makes me really kind of thrilled. I have a girlfriend crush on her. Let me see. YouTube and tell her yes. That's a good way to start, is with her. She and Michelle Sheldon. I listen to as soon as they upload. Well, I don't know who Michelle Sheldon is, but I'm going to check her out. I was gonna say I'll write it down, but I guess I don't really need to. Like I said, I have no idea. I probably won't share this video. Now I've gotten a little private. We're gonna just be girlfriends chit-chatting. So, and it'll make it easier for me to see. She counseled, on the Council of Light. Beautiful. That makes me happy. Yes, I'll look forward to looking into her and see how she resonates with me as well. Maybe I'll wind up with a girlfriend crush on her too. I'd like to hear more or find out more about what you guys would like to know. Hey Camille, are you still on here? Oh, little lioness, I'll see you soon. Thank you. It's Lynette, right? I love you. I will talk to you soon, hopefully. Camille, I posted a video the other day on Facebook that was about some of my self-loving practices. I can go into like a way more thorough one. I'm trying to figure out, like, a lot of the time I'm just going to be uploading videos that are just simply educational, and then other times I want to be able to have people on here and asking live questions and things like that, and I'm going to want to know what times are going to be the best for people and things. So I certainly need a little bit of feedback if I want to be able to effectively help teach people. So just let me know. Camille, I do have a couple different videos that I think would be really, really, really good. Self-love does seem obvious, but quite frankly, it is literally the most difficult thing on the planet for most people. People say that that's just so cliched to say, but put your money where your mouth is. But many of those people may actually have a ton of money, which I don't have, but they don't have self-love. And I can assure you that most billionaires would trade anything that they have for self-love. So if I could wish anything on anyone on planet Earth, it would be self-love, because people who are truly self-loving don't impose harm upon others, and they don't manipulate or impede upon other people's free will. Yes, you do have ultimate control over yourself, because you're a spiritual badass. That's wonderful. Yes, 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 yes. Affirmations. So, and make sure that you're using the term I am, the words I am. They are literally some of the most magnificently magical words. They are the most powerful words in the universe, and it's another esoteric concept that we can get into at another point. But using those words is almost like spiritual technology. Okay, and you know what? Now, Jillian, we can talk a little bit about this Sri Yantra, now that we've gotten a little bit farther into this conversation. Sri Yantra is just that. Affirmations came to me yesterday. They're spells. I'm a spellcaster. I've been doing a long time without knowing it. Hell yeah, you are. I'm sure you. Well, we're all spellcasters to some degree, but I bet you've been a really well practiced one in other lives. I bet you have. Jillian, why don't I talk to you a little bit about this Sri Yantra you were wanting to talk about? I also have one right there. No problem, Camille. It's cool. Yes, please. So I have a Sri Yantra right here. I have a Sri Yantra right here on my bed, because I can't imagine a more magical, wonderful place to have a manifestation symbol, because then when I'm sleeping, I have the vibration and the resonance of this magical symbol that is in my presence. Yes, I didn't even see with my eyes closed. Now my bedroom, I'm gonna make sure that you guys know that I'm very, very much human, like, and in that I make mistakes. I'm dirty sometimes. I'm super clean sometimes. It depends on what is going on at the time. But my bedroom is a place that I choose to keep really special. I choose to keep this as the resonance in here is always really kind of magical for me, because it's just one place that I need to be able to unwind. So that's something, first of all, that I recommend for people. You're sleeping in your bedroom, you're spending a lot of time in there. It's just try to surround yourself by things that are going to calm your essence, calm your vibration, especially while you're sleeping. You are being coded all the time, 100% of the time. 100% of the time, you are the most magnificent supercomputers that this universe has to offer. So you are being coded while you're awake. You're being coded while you're asleep. So just make sure that you're being really conscious about that. It's even for just self-love purposes, it's a really good thing. Camille, even I might recommend that you fall asleep listening to some affirmations or things like that. You'd be surprised how magnificent the change can be, even though you're asleep, when your mind is processing those things. As far as the Sri Yantra goes, it's spiritual technology. Okay, so I'm going to encourage you to go look it up if you haven't already been looking it up somewhat since we first talked about it. But ultimately, sacred geometry creates different kinds of vibrations, vibrational resonance. Okay, watching Ben nap times. Hi, Jacqueline. Okay, just so you know, Jacqueline, I'm making you a moderator right now because otherwise it's not going to let you leave very many comments, and then I'm going to have to figure out later how to undo or what I've got to do because it's just silly at this point. So yes, sacred geometry. Everything in the universe gives off a vibration. Everything. But sacred geometry gives off very well calculated and perfectly vibrationally resonant vibrations. Okay. Sorry, trying to read what. Yes. So the vibrations that come off of sacred geometry, you've got a Merkaba, which we only know as symbolic of the heart chakra, and it's also a sacred vehicle of light. But these give off a very sacred vibration because of how perfectly well aligned they are, how exactly perfectly dimensionally proportional they are, and they give off a vibrational resonance that can be extremely healing or things like that. Crystals, for example, the reason why they are so powerful is because if you look at them on a microscopic level, they all have sacred geometry within them. So really what they're doing is sending off sacred geometrical vibrations off into the universe, and every single one of those is going to affect us slightly differently depending on the shape of the crystal. Does that make sense? I think, and I'm actually going to show you guys. These are crystals. These are kind of my calling card. I actually take these with me most everywhere I go, and I let people pick a stone. Actually, I let a stone pick people. They have to reach their hand in and see which one picks them, and it kind of makes everybody's day, which is really, really fun, especially kids. Most of the time, I don't even tell them I'm a missionary unless they ask. Just watch them pick one. Yeah, thank you. I'm sending out a crystal grid. People don't realize it. Yeah, anyway, I've been doing that kind of thing for a long time. But and the kids are the ones who like it, especially if you stop at like a Kool-Aid cell or something like that. Oh my God, you have no idea how much they love it. So anyway, again, back to the vibrations that come off of a Sri Yantra. Now, a Sri Yantra is a particularly sacred symbol. It's a symbol of manifestation. And what happens is that when you spend time meditating on it and you spend time actually looking at it, and you're able to get into a specific state of brain waves. I can't remember exactly which one it is. It might be, I'm not even going to say which one it is, but into highly meditative, when you're in a trance state, essentially. And you are staring at a Sri Yantra particularly, it has an ability. Yeah, that's what I was actually going to guess, Jillian, but I sometimes, I study this stuff in extraordinary depth, but I don't like to try to claim that I know a word if I'm not thinking of it right that second or anything. Yes, but in any case, yes, when you start drooling, that's exactly right. So when you get to your theta wave state, or even gamma, which is awesome, this would actually activate your gamma waves. If you were to be in theta and you were to be looking at this and you were to get into the right frame of mind, you stare at it long enough. This is hard for you to imagine until you witness it happen, but it actually literally activates, and there's a luminescent light that you can see that this is one of those things that make you just know that it's got to be ancient technology, actually, and not just like, it's not just someone happened to, it did happen. See, it's beautiful, isn't it? So what that is for is specifically for manifestation. So this is, if you look at that and you meditate on how you want to manifest and what you want to manifest in your life, it has the ability to bend reality. It is I don't know. Like I said, you're welcome to spend a lot of time researching it. This is something that has just ridiculous amounts of research into it, but and that's how I researched it. But ultimately, it is Sorry, what? Yes, that happened. The ring started moving and up. Yes, that's exactly right. It's like an engine. So this is how you just have to know that that is spiritual technology, and that's where you can't really question at that point whether or not our internal supercomputers are a little bit more magnificent than maybe what we've been led to believe. And I'm putting this all as nicely as I possibly can. So yes, continue doing that, Jillian. There's a reason that this particular sign was reaching out to you. I know in your case this was not something that you just happened to find. It's more like a synchronistically it was reaching out to you, and synchronicities are an aspect of channeling. So really just honor yourself for sending yourself Sri Yantras. And yeah, we can talk more about that another time. Yes, goodness, the mantras related it. Yes, it found you. I know that. I love it. That's freaking awesome. So, I don't know if there's anybody else that wants to ask anything or say anything right now. That's funny. I do love that. Okay, so does anybody else have anything else? I want to make sure that's it. Yeah, that is basically it. That is just the sacred technology behind it is designed to help you learn to manifest within your own life and help to clean out and cleanse your inner system. It's just another way to let light into your spine, into your soul, and to do it, there's a few different ways to get light into your spine. One of the ways is through visually. And when you allow that visual cortex to connect with your brain until when that spiritual technology kicks into gear, it not only is like this meditative practice that you're having that's helping you to feel better and to even potentially visualize and see manifestations, but it's also letting light, deep, luminescent, beautiful, sacred light into your spinal column. So yes. There's no such thing as just a neat synchronicity. Every synchronicity that you feel that like feeling with, every time you feel one of those little wobbles inside, that is the beginnings of channeling. That's the beginnings of honoring your inner channel for sending you messages. Yeah, I would definitely say those two are related to one another. I would definitely say that pretty intricately. Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. I know a little bit about light language, but I'll acknowledge that is not my area of expertise. Even like tarot, which I love doing tarot and oracle readings. That's something that's been a passion of mine for a long time, but that's not necessarily my most intuitive area. I'm a spiritual alchemist primarily and a energy worker, energy healer. I do fusion energy work, so a lot of different kinds of energy work simultaneously. And then I'm a lover. I'm an all-around lover. I'll do a bunch of other things and I'll expose people to a bunch of other things, but ultimately it's just so that they can go out and find someone who will do a better job than I would be able to. What is a spiritual alchemist? It's what I've been already doing. That feeling that you get when I'm talking to you and I help to like create this feeling of light within you and to help you potentially see things through a different perspective. Well, it's because I actually understand, and I've spent a tremendous amount of time studying the energetic the energetic relationship behind what I'm actually doing, to the point where now I actually can see it. And so, excuse me, how did you realize that you've been doing that kind of healing work your whole life? Mostly because once I really started opening into it, I realized that it felt like more like home. It felt more like I was breathing instead of like constricting, because it's like I had always been constricting myself, keeping myself from doing these things or trying not to do it. Hi, Emery. Hi. I'm gonna turn you into, just so you know, I have to make you a moderator for a minute, because otherwise after like 4 or 5 messages, it's just gonna tell you can't talk to me anymore. So we're going to do that for a little bit until I figure out how to fix this. So I don't know, I probably won't keep people as moderators anymore, but I'll figure out a way to make it so that people can talk openly without having to be moderators. So I think I understand only because of what you've done for me. Yes, exactly. That's my point, Jillian, is to teach. My goal is not to have to teach people forever and ever and ever and ever. My goal is to be able to show people some things within a short enough period of time that the light and the magic that's within you does the rest. Because every single one of these things that I'm showing you and I'm sharing with you, and that I've been sharing on my channel already, every single one of those things are things that we remember, because we are one. We really, even if we all kind of came into the memories in a different process, we're here to remind each other, and so the things that I've already shared with you, and things, sparking ideas and giving me, yes, that's what we're here for. That we're here for those levels of activation. And my goal is to help you to recognize and to figure out these things, because there's things that are going to activate within you that are also that I want to know. I'm ready to learn what you're going to teach me also, so it's, I think I kind of clearly expressed earlier on that I really, really desperately wished I had a teacher so many times, and I was not in situations during a lot of those times where I could afford one. And honestly, the best teachers I've ever had, who I just love, and they're my friends too at this point, died a long time ago. so I've been learning from them for a long time, and they're in books, and they're on the internet. But what I wanted as a friend, I wanted someone, a buddy that I could talk to, someone who actually cared, and someone who was willing to just help make my path a little bit easier, so that I could come into those insights a little bit more rapidly. And so that's really, really what I'm trying to do, Jillian, and I hope that that's what you have found has been your experience so far. Camille, the reason I was bringing up what my gifts are as opposed to what are less my gifts, I've found myself speaking in light language before, and that was that's happened actually probably about a half a dozen times, and it's really admittedly just not my area of expertise right now. When it's happened, it's shocked me. It's quite beautiful, but I in no way want to sell myself as any kind of an expert in that particular area. You are giving me something that I'll just want to study a little more. There's been a lot of insight happening this last couple of years. So what else would you guys like me to talk about? I have a lot of videos. I have a video on synchronicity. I have video on the divine feminine. My husband helps me with a lot of these videos, which is really obviously kind of magnificent. That's really great. So there are definitely gaps of info available for those of us who have awakened recently. Just share about. Yes, there's definitely, and I love the fact that none of us chose the same mission. None of us chose the same journey. We didn't on purpose. We did that so that we could acquire and compile some magnificent gifts and bring all of our strengths to the table. And in this way, we happen to help be able to figure out each other's puzzles, the parts of the puzzles that, and again, this is what I found so much with Aluna. I know it seems like I have such a friend crush right now, and it's because I do, but but that's really how I felt when I found her, was that she helped me to take 30 years of study and a little 31 years of study, and sew some of the parts together. So that was really, really magnificent for me. So I don't know how much longer I can keep going if you guys want, or I can tie it up for today. Whatever you guys want. Allergies. And then she helped me understand. She yes, and first of all, I'm going to answer both of those questions, both yours, Jillian, and yours, Camille. First of all, Camille, I will say, yeah, I've studied the twin flame experiment in extreme detail, and that's one of the areas where I just really loved her, is that I felt like she did have a way of really helping it to come together for me. And I know that, like you said, it doesn't resonate with everyone, but maybe it's just not supposed to. Maybe the ones it's supposed to resonate with, it resonates with, and that's how it's supposed to work. But it does resonate really heavily with me too. Yes. Jillian, I'm going to say thoughts on the physical ailments during the ascension. Yeah, we all have our completely different ones. And what's happening as above, so below. So we do really, it looks a little bit different for every single person. But I know that what's happening right now, this is how I explain it when I'm talking to people who I'm doing like energy work with, or helping kind of guide them into trying to remember who they are. When I'm talking to them, one of the things that I discuss with them is, as far as where we're at in the ascension process right now. Did you guys ever? I'm gonna listen to your. Thank you so much, Anne Marie. I appreciate that. Did you guys ever watch Terminator 2? Yeah, we're gonna talk about that, Camille, right now. Yeah, I think everybody's kind of got some things that are coming to a surface, whatever they may be for individuals. Sometimes it looks a little different for everyone, but we're gonna spend a little bit of time talking about why. Okay. So I'm gonna talk about it, since even it doesn't matter if you have or haven't. I'm gonna assume you haven't. I'm gonna talk about it like you haven't, because you'll be able to understand this really easily. Okay. So in Terminator 2, there is the Terminator is made of molten metal, and whenever he kills one of the people in the show, he's able to assume their body, and so, or not their body, excuse me, just their form. So he can become what they looked like with his body. Okay, and whether it's just someone at the grocery store or some other bad guy or whatever, he's just able to assume their body. And at the very end, when this Terminator's dying, he falls into some other molten hot lava, basically. I mean, it's hot metal or something, but all of the nasty faces that it had ever reared before suddenly start coming to the surface. So it's already dying. It's on its way out. It cannot survive. There's no surviving. And yet all of these nasty, every face it's ever been, every face it's ever pulled comes rearing to the surface. Okay, so that is what's happening to the freaking human collective, the purge, right now. It's like there's so much light that's penetrating planet Earth right now in such massive amounts, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful, but there's side effects that come with that, and one of those is the purge. And the purge looks different for everyone. For me, it's not highly physical, but I've had some things going on personally in my life that are a little bit, certainly not things that I'm posting on Facebook. I'm a missionary of love and light. I talk about the things that are how I heal from those things. But I know that a lot of the people I'm working with are dealing with major physical ailments, and it's almost like every single one of them is like the worst it's ever been. And that's kind of why, is because it's like the Terminator's on its way out. There's so much light penetrating. It's like we're in big research lab under a microscope that has this beautiful luminescent transformative light. Sorry, so we're just being penetrated with so much luminescent light, and it's coming in like heartbeat waves of light. Okay, plus it's coming from more than one direction. And so we've got, if you were in like a research lab using a laser to do that with some kind of organic organism, what would happen eventually is that organic organism would mutate. That's what light does. It changes the dynamics of the inner workings of different organic materials. And that's what's happening to our planet right now on a really massive scale. But it's not just happening to Mother Gaia, it's happening to individual people. So some of their deepest darknesses, some of their deepest pains, not just emotionally, because everything emotionally is intertwined in some way, shape, or form with our etheric body. There's just no getting around that. And so when we're having this light that penetrates both our physical body and our etheric body simultaneously, it's jostling some of our most challenging things to the surface. So for some of us, those challenging things are very financial or are very family related, or are very maybe pertaining to certain addictions or things that people are struggling with giving up right now. For some people, that looks like physical pain, like extreme physical pain. Basically, flus. Oh my God, flus. That's a huge thing right now because it's just deep purging from your system, and a lot of this stuff is etherically purging not just things from this life, but etherically purging things from other lives. And quite frankly, even if your husband's not on the ascension process, so to speak, first of all, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's not a first part of the first responder type of waves, even if he hasn't awakened to that yet. And second of all, even if he isn't till later, no matter how vibrationally advanced or I hate to say it, no matter how vibrationally light or dense you are at this point in your progressive ascension process right now, no one can get away from it. It just happens to be affecting those of us that are a little farther along on the path, that are a little more awakened right now, because we're highly sensitive to it and we're kind of doing our last of the purge. So we are going through things that a lot of people are going to be we're going through things that a lot of people are going to be going through in progressively stronger waves soon. But there's no one that can avoid feeling it in some way, shape, or form right now. And to be honest, for everyone, it does look a little different which thing is purging its way to the surface. For me, it has much more to do with like personal type of fears addressing and things like that. But for other people, like I said, a huge amount of the people I'm dealing with, it's extreme physical pain. My husband's actually struggling with some pretty heavy physical pain right now. It's why I've been using him as an avatar for some of our energy work, to do energy work for other people. I use him as my avatar. So let's see. I guess he doesn't. Yes, but it's okay. He just allow him to just find that place within. Maybe he'd be willing to watch some of my videos. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to do one that's on channeling later on this week. I know I saw someone ask a question. A few people actually ask questions on the Soul Family page this week about channeling. So I just figured maybe I would do that a little bit later on this week if anybody's interested. So I know you said that you watched that this morning. I'm so happy, Jillian. Thank you. And my husband was delighted when he heard that too. He was walking out of the room when you called earlier. So, yep. Yes, don't worry, Camille. He'll come around. Don't, just have faith. I promise you. I promise you that right now faith is going to be a really helpful thing, and it's really all that you really need right this second. Yes, I'm glad that makes sense, Anne Marie. Do you think after 2 back surgeries and neck surgery, a lot of my pain is trapped energy? I think that most all of us that are in full awareness of the fact that this ascension process is happening, that things are moving forward. They are, and that are highly sensitive to what's going on. I think that most of us have some of whatever our deepest, most deep etheric pain is. And I could imagine with that level, 2 back surgeries and a neck surgery tells me this is a deep pain that you've dealt with a very, very, very long time. And even if it's associated with something etherically, which may or may not be something that happened in this life, we'd obviously have to spend more time talking to for me to know that. But even if either way, that level of pain is something that you have deeply associated with. I have a lot of faith. First of all, I'm going to send you so much love and light, but I have a tremendous amount of faith that you're going to find a lot of that pain is going to be dissipating over these next few months, but it's kind of making a last stand right now. I wouldn't be surprised if it just is a little bit overbearing, and I'm so sorry if that's the case, but like I said, I don't ever promise someone. I don't ever say love and light just as a like love and light. I mean, I say it, but when I say it, there's always an actual intention of sending a human love and light. And when I tell someone in a case where they're talking to me about their pain and their suffering and they're actually having a love and light moment where they need it, I include them in whatever healings I'm doing personally that day. And I want to just make sure that you know that when I say that I'll be sending you love and light for your neck and your back, that I really hope that you feel that later when I tune into you, and that I'm able to help you alleviate a little bit of what you're suffering with right this second. But I do feel that you're going to find in general that a lot of that's going to dissipate through the alchemical process of light that's happening on planet Earth right now. But it's just taking a little bit of a last terminator stand, and I'm sorry that you're suffering from that right this second. Is there anything else you guys would like me to help you with today, or do you want me to just check in with you next time? Thanks, Jillian. As a matter of fact, when I said thank you, when I said, I think I put in the title of this something about quirky, and I put that in quotes. I did that because my husband nicknamed me Quirky because I make such funny facial expressions. He feels like I'm a cartoon. So he calls me Quirky when my inner cartoon character is coming out. Thank you. He's just gonna love you more and more, Jillian. So if I do a video on channeling, is there a specific time that people would like me to do that, or would you rather have me do one on Egyptian light magic, or would you guys rather have me do one on crystals, something really pretty basic, or yeah, the more you agree with them, exactly. Nailed it. I will do both, but when? How should I guess I'm wanting a little bit of advice. When do you guys want me to do this? I could do this. The light magic sounds cool. Yes to all. They are all cool. You know what? Egyptian light magic will go a lot into crystals anyway, so I'm happy to do a separate thing on crystals also. But the only reason I really wanted to do channeling to begin with is just because I saw that a few other people on the soul, I guess that's not Luna's page, on the soul family page, had asked about channeling, so I just thought that I might share some stuff about it. All right, channeling, that's what it's going to be. When do you guys want me to do this? Do you guys want me to do this tonight? Or do you guys want me to do this? You guys want me to do this? It's up to you guys. You're the ones who are here. Yeah, I would go live in that one. Oh, in that group, are you talking about in Soul Family? I'm trying to just get clarification on what you're asking. Well, if possible, I'd love to be able to have it so that it can upload onto my YouTube page, in case it ends up being something that it ends up being a good enough learning one. So thank you so much. Yeah, so it's not that I wouldn't. Oh, of course I'd be willing to do one on the Soul Family page, but it is nice to be able to have them upload to my Facebook page when I'm able to, so other people can learn from them later too. So let me see. You can export videos from. Oh, I know that you can on your personal page. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to on a different event page that I'm not like a manager on. Am I able to upload a live video onto that page? This is, as you guys can tell, I'm blooming with you. So, yeah, well, we can try that. Yeah, I'm happy to do one on the Soul Family. I guess just make sure that that's okay before yeah. And even if I can't upload one to YouTube, I'll just do one for the Soul Family. It can just be for them anyway. It doesn't matter. But I just want to make sure that that's okay before I commit to doing something that I really am not sure is something that they would want me to do. So, but if that's something that Bella, I think it's her name, she's so cute. If that's something that she would like for me to do, I would love to. I also am not sure if you guys want me to post this particular video, or if I should just delete it. So, why don't you go ahead and let me know about that? If more people saw you. Oh, that's true, Jillian. But I'm gonna make extra sure that that's okay. Your story's beautiful. Depends on how you feel. Camille, you've been on the whole time. You guys know. I know I got a pretty personal for a minute. I'll post it at least for a little while, and I guess the good thing about going with the flow, the divine feminine, is I can always delete it later. So I will post it for a little bit. That way, any of you that are on right this second that may want to hear like some of the earlier stuff we were talking about can. I don't know that I'll keep this on forever, but this has been a really fun experiment. Again, except when I'm commuting. So anytime besides 4 to 6 Pacific Standard, which is 5 to 7 my time. So is Aluna doing something tonight? If she is, I don't want to post one. Do you guys know if she's announced that she might be doing something? I know for sure she's doing one in a couple of days, I think. Oh, thanks, Jillian. That's such a wonderful compliment. Yes, thanks. And yeah, I'll leave it up for at least a little while. Do you guys know if Aluna's doing anything tonight? Because I don't want to do one tonight if it's gonna like overlap one of hers. But otherwise, I might do it at. Yeah, I know. I would imagine too. Awesome. Let's think. The best time to do one on channeling. I like doing them in abnormal times because it's pattern interruption, which is sacred to me. It's a sacred way of getting people to kind of discombobulate a little bit and not go with exactly what their structured things are. So, good, and we'll learn together. So we'll plan on tonight. If I was to do it at let's think. If I was to do it at 7:11 my time, which is 6:11 Pacific Standard Time and 9:11 East Coast time tonight, how do you think that would work for you guys? It's a great time for you, Jillian? Okay. So I'm going to plan on doing it at 7:11 my time. Do you guys want me to do it on the Soul Fan page? You know, I really feel like I should check with. Yeah, I think I should definitely ask there. I feel a little uncomfortable with doing it otherwise. You know what? For this first one, maybe we'll just do it here. We can announce it on there if we want. And for this first one on channeling, I'm going to just do it here tonight at 7:11 Mountain Standard Time, 6:11 Pacific Standard Time, 9:11 Eastern Time. And I will announce in that one, and I'll maybe talk to Bella in the meantime, just see if I can do one on there, because I'm happy. I'm super happy to do one on there. I just don't want to do it without knowing that that's something that they're kosher with. So, yes, I think people would probably be into it too. I was really. So in any case, yeah, so that's what I'm going to plan on. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream now. I want to thank you guys all for helping me to gusto through some third chakra initiations today. And I love you all so freaking much. I'm going to see you guys tonight at 7:11 to talk about some channeling, which is one of my favorite subjects. Okay, bye.